All right, good evening, friends. This is the 11th of November, and tonight we're talking about an exciting new announcement. I call it the Legacy Coach Blueprint, and the subheading is the power of 1 times 10. And I've got a picture there of a blueprint of a house, and there's a verse in Proverbs that says, through skillful and godly wisdom is a house, a life, a home, a family built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation. And by knowledge shall its chambers of every area be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. And it's really my intention through tonight's program to show you the blueprint how people who commit to the Legacy Coach program can start to build their legacy house in a very big way. Now, just to confirm again or reiterate, the Legacy Coach is this picture below, is a facilitation to help people on their journey. So the people beyond, on top are busy with their own journey from struggle to stability to success to significance. The green illustrate the family's private journey, and while the family is in struggle, it's very difficult for that individual or family to focus on business and community. But as they progress along this line, they would have more time for business and community, and their momentum accelerates. So our typical target market for the Legacy Coach would be an individual who's not yet married. It could be a committed family already, whether they got kids or not. And it could be a business, any business owner, however large or small. And then the function of the Legacy Coach going forward, we've always said it will be a relationship manager, but lately I've added 4 people on this journey, whether these people are doing it as a business or as a family. This Legacy Coach will also become your private banker. So if you think of what is a private banker, it's someone that when you want to deal with the bank on any issue, you phone your banker, and only the privileged few get to have a private banker. But we respect you so much on your journey that if we meet you in struggle, we already see you in significance. So we want to make sure that the Legacy Coach assists you as the private banker on that journey and become very knowledgeable on how to facilitate you on that wealth journey. Now, the Legacy Coach is not a single person. The Legacy Coach is part of a massive structure, and that structure is where he is supported by Geek, CFI, the Geek Trust, the CCC, which is a Community Chamber of Commerce, Geek Wealth, and I might mention some of these issues when we go forward. But he's also supported by wealth coaches, and you'll see tonight the wealth coach, which is basically a financial advisor who is trained on the Geek thinking. That is then a wealth coach, how he becomes more and more important in helping the Legacy Coach with his program. And then at Geek Institute, we also have a panel of specialists so that along the way, we can advise, facilitate the family, whether they need an attorney or an accountant or a marketing specialist or whatever the case may be. So just that you have that total picture in mind. Now, the subheading says the power of 1 in brackets times 10. And I want to spend some time tonight to illustrate to you the difference between linear thinking, which is this blue line at the bottom, which is basically adding. So in a time cycle, whether that cycle is 1 day or 1 year or however long it is, let's say I've added 10 people. Whereas the linear or the exponential thinking thinks multiplying. So when we start in cycle 1, whether I have 1 plus 10 or 1 times 10, it's 10. But now in cycle 2, if I'm on the addition side in cycle 2, I have another 10 with it, so it's now 20. Whereas on the multiplication side, I've got 100. In cycle 3, it's 30 versus 1,000. In cycle 4, it's 40 versus 10,000. And quickly escalate that by cycle 10, I've added 100 people, but by cycle 10, I could already impact 10 billion people. And that's the linear and exponential thinking. So why is this so important in our understanding tonight? The reason why we're building the Legacy Coach program is that you're part of a structure. You're not a single person. And in life and in my years of experience, I've learned that if you try and do it as a single person, doesn't matter how good a business idea you have, and you go to people and say, I want to help you, or I want to sell my business or service, my expertise to you, they don't appreciate you as much as when you come to them as part of a large structure. So typical structures out there would be business structures like producers, intermediaries, retailers, services. In turn, they would form legal structures like sole proprietorship, PTYs, trusts, or cooperatives. And then you have organizational structure. And for the sake of tonight, I want that each and every one of you as a legacy coach see yourself as being the founder of your own private organizational structure. And to the degree that you can build it professionally, to that degree, businesses will want to do business with you, and you would be able to tap into remuneration structures. So this just to park there, that structure speaks to structure. Now, when we look at the resources of time and money or relationships, I fully appreciate that every person who's looking at this video is on his way to be a legacy coach, is already a legacy coach, but you are it because you are very busy, but you also have a heart for the community. The challenge, however, is if you don't follow a system and a structure, what can happen with resources is one of three things. Most people waste it, the typical consumer mindset, if you think in terms of time, play games just while away through the day. Most of us spend it. We have no choice. That's our daily task. This guy with the multi-arms, and he tries to survive. And we have to put food on the table, and we spend it picking kids up from the school and doing our daily job. And that's the 8 hours a day out of the 24 hours. But the only way, none of this remains. As you spend it, it's gone. As you waste it, it's gone. The only way that you capture time and you multiply time is when you invest it. When you have a steward builder mindset, and that's only when you invest in people, empower someone. So tonight I'm going to give you the blueprint of how you can apply this invested principle. Now, as we go forward, Geek for the last year have launched the Geek Investor Club, which basically says any person, whether he's in struggle or stability or success or significance, can open an account. It's already included in your membership fee. You don't pay extra for it. But then all the money that you top up in this account becomes available to make investments. And we are the only entity out there that focus people on how to think like investors, even while they're still in structure or in struggle. So for people in struggle, we say, don't worry. Doesn't matter how small you are right now and how tough things are. Already, once you have your account open, you can participate in our crowd investment. That's where your 100 Rand plus 100 people's 100 Rand makes 10,000. And now we can start investing. And already we've got a cattle project where people can buy cattle, fractions of cattle, and the money goes into buying calves, fatten the calves, slaughter it for meat, and then repeat the cycle. And since August last year, we've already had 2 groups of people. We have a money intake every 2 months. But the August group already had a 15% growth on their money, and they can choose to take it out or reinvest it. And the October group had a 13.5% growth on their money, and in December there will be another intake. And we're already working on programs that sometime next year we will add to it gold investment, not to speculate, but to protect the intrinsic value. But there is also a good chance that we will be in Forex, currency trading, where people could then, on the other scale, have a high risk investment, but it could also pan out quite well. So that's what's possible at struggle level. And we say, aim to start putting in money, however little it is, and build it up to the point of at least 100,000 Rand. Because once you get there, you break into what we call the stability investor, which can now be regarded as an individual investor with 100,000 plus available to him that he can extract. And with that, he can pay a deposit on a house, he can make individual investments, although he can also participate in the crowd investment. And he can continue with the cattle, gold, forex, but in time, if we have enough of these investors at that level, it would be easier to invest in property and businesses. And then the third layer of involvement is sophisticated investor. When collectively with all your investments, you stand at $1 million plus in investment. These are just the classes that we will continue to pursue. But now you are financially free. What do we mean by that? We mean that you have residual income that exceeds your monthly living costs. And only now are you really free and no longer a slave or bonded to the system out there. And from this bracket, soon you'll be at the significant level. You're still a sophisticated investor, you're still financially free, but now because you have $1 million plus, we can now in Geek Wealth help you to set up the first steps of becoming a family office where eventually you have all your time to do philanthropic events or whatever it is that you want. So this is going to be a big driver for our membership growth this coming year. And then you'll hear me and the whole Legacy Coach program focus more and more on New Life as one of the components, because this becomes the commercial foundation of the Legacy Coach program. This is where we can give you incredible residual income, and we'll give you the tools of how to do it. This is where you will achieve lifestyle and travel, and we can do that because the company is already international in 50 plus markets. So in time to come, we'll elaborate more on this. So tonight, I just want to give you the blueprint of the Legacy Coach. So understand now the Legacy Coach is the private banker, he's the relationship manager. He's there to facilitate the family wherever they are on their journey from struggle to significance. But when you look at the Legacy Coach, don't just look at him, see past him all the entities that supports him and is represented by him. So the Legacy Coach is trained by the Geek Institute in HubSpot, and he will have his own customer relationship management program to follow up on all his people, but it's given to him by Geek Institute. Geek Institute will put him in touch with a specialist if ever he needs to point the finger to an accountant or a loyal legal person or whatever. Geek Institute is where we've developed the annual self-assessment, which becomes a strong driver in people's journey as they move forward. Another entity that's behind the Legacy Coach is Geek Trust. And the Legacy Coach actually has a service level agreement with Geek Trust, because that's where the remuneration plan is. That's where the investor club is driven from. And then also the software of the bank, Mambu, is now redesigned so that the Legacy Coach have access to his own members and his own detail on a read-only basis, so that we shorten the chain for people to act and get information immediately. Then Geek Wealth is our insurance company and our funding company, and they give you access to insurance products, all the short-term life investments, and in time to come also focus on the high net worth individuals through the family office. And then lastly, New Life, it's a separate entity, but they provide us with top of the range, the latest scientific products in healthcare, home care, skincare. They have an international presence, and every person gets their own customized website that allows him to build an international business and earn international currency from the comforts of his home. So that's the resources available to a Legacy Coach. Now, what is the job of a Legacy Coach? So a Legacy Coach, when we did our presentation one, we shared with people, there's a journey of the 4 S's to move from generational 1 mindset to be in economic pain and lack, to the generational 3 mindset of abundance and prosperity. And the whole Geek movement, the Geek program, the Geek bank, and all the elements of it is now captured in the legacy coach conversion process, where we say, our market is everybody out there, but not everybody out there will see the picture and be willing to commit to the journey. So the first step in the process is we consider the market as potential prospects, but we have to filter them to see if they actually fit the qualification to take it further. And that's when they become a free member, and there they can check us out, do a couple of things until they're comfortable, and then they become a paid member. But a paid member is just the starting point. A paid member, you already, as a legacy coach, earn referral and legacy coach and mentor commissions on it, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg, because the real serious money comes when you can now lead the paid members through a process of making them committed members. And we'll spend some time to just talk about committed members. And then out of committed members will become the people who put their hands up to become legacy coaches. And the cycle is only completed once you have developed another legacy coach, so that you now also become a mentor. And now you earn the full maximum potential of income available. So you'll see that I've put committed member in yellow because it's the key in this whole thing. What is our definition of a committed member? A committed member is someone who has completed the online courses 1, which is the Geek message, 2, goal setting, generational goal setting, 3, generational budgeting, have completed the annual self-assessment and do it annually again. And we add a new thing where we want, together with our legacy coaches, but bring in the wealth coach to sit with this family, this new couple, and do a wealth coach interview, where we can now facilitate them and help them plan from where they're at and move them to where they want to be, and provide professional legal, financial advice legally, and then help people at the readiness level to either invest in products or later on in other parts of things. We also want to make sure that the people are actively using the CFI products, and the 2 products, everybody already get the Loan Link Share product as the default, but we want to add 2 more products as compulsory for our committed members, and that's a 32-day call account where they can start putting money aside for a rainy day or their emergency fund, and that's money they can eat. It's towards a project or something. But then we also want to get people on the investor club so that they can learn investor skills, how to assess opportunities for themselves. And now we're going to also start with the committed members to expose them to new life products and show them the benefit of the product, how they can save money. And some of these people might even want to become involved as distributors themselves. But the focus here is on usage. And we can prove to people how they can save up to 50% on their monthly expenditure and bring that savings into their investor club and go forward. And then you finish the committed member and ticked all the boxes when you have recruited your first member. So we're going to talk more about how do we achieve this. Now, coming back to the power of 1, I started off by saying there's a difference between addition and multiply, linear, exponential thinking. If you look at currently what happened, and you can be a good person and mean well, but you only have 24 hours a day. If I look at work hours, we're supposed to sleep 8, live 8, and work 8. And if I use that as a measure, there's 8 hours to work in a day, 56 in a week, 240 in a month, 2,920 in a year. What I'm asking you, if you are serious about changing your life in a dramatic way, make a commitment to invest 10, and you don't have to invest more than 10 hours a month, but invest it correctly. So invest doesn't mean think about it. Invest means apply it, and we'll tell you about how to do it just now. Now, if you think of 10 hours invested out of 240 hours per month, that's like asking you to make a commitment of 4.1%, because remember, your current hours are spent. You don't get it back. You have to re-spend it next month. Only time invested in people to empower them is what works for you. If we now look at what can work for you, and we call it reclaim your life by learning to work the cycles. Now we'll come back to what is a cycle, but in Geek it will be then, or in Legacy Coach program, it would be that cycle from you joining Geek all the way to becoming a mentor, and that cycle 1, and we'll go into more depth. But if you can define your cycle and work it and then repeat it and then repeat it, by the time that you get to your cycle 3 or 4, between the 1,000 and the 10,000 hours, you're already producing in your organizational structure more than you need and that you can currently put in your own energy in a year. And that's how you start reclaiming your life back. Because when you have that working for you residually, it's almost like you're adding the effect of 1 year's work to your current life and your lifestyle and your family every month. And that's where we want to take you. So let's define your cycle. In Geek, we want to get people to ultimately become mentors. Now, how do you get there? You start with talking to people who know nothing about Geek and try and see if you can get them into committing to become a free member. And we represented by this little green dot. And not the first person that you say, go and check us out, will not necessarily do it and will not become a free member. The second one may not. The third one may not. But the fourth one could well be the person who not only become a free member, but likes it and becomes our first paid member. And he now chooses the option of the 70 or the 140 Rand. And now we can start to work with them. But a paid member is not a committed member yet. And you have to keep on bringing in free members and keep on bringing in paid members before you will find out of the paid members your first person who's willing to go the whole journey with you and become a committed member. And you remember the committed member qualifications earlier. And you don't know who it will be, but you keep on bringing more paid members, and out of them will become more committed members. And somewhere along the line, you get your 10. This is the goal. Get 10 committed members. So remember, you still get paid on paid members, but the real money lies here when you can get committed members. And you don't know who it will be, but somewhere amongst your group of 10, one of those would then be the person who put his hand up to say, I also want to become a legacy coach. And now you've completed, you're already a legacy coach, you've got 10 or more people, but now you've got your first legacy coach, which makes you a mentor. And that is the end of cycle 1, however long it took you. So we will now, going forward, define this whole cycle 1 process as you plus 10 equals a mentor with a legacy coach. So what is then cycle 2? If this is cycle 1, cycle 2 would be when your previous legacy coach have now developed his legacy coach, and you've developed a new legacy coach out of your group of 10. So remember, out of those 10 active people, as soon as one of them move up to legacy coach, make sure you replace him and have at least always 10 active or 10 committed members that you can work from. But there will be definitely more than 1 in 10 committed members that will put up their hands to become a legacy coach. And that's the end of cycle 2. And then cycle 3 would be you develop a new legacy coach. Your previous legacy coach is now a mentor. The previous legacy coach is a mentor with legacy coaches. And this thing quickly escalates. I didn't go into the detail. And somewhere between cycle 3 and cycle 4, you will start seeing the incredible power, monetary rewards that will come to you from the whole Geek movement as a legacy coach. So obviously you can now continue this example and say, what will cycle 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 be? But this is as far as I want to take it. So this proposed allocation of 10 hours per month, how do I propose it? Out of your 10 hours, I propose that you take 30 minutes and spend on yourself, because remember, you yourself are on this journey, and it doesn't matter where you are, you have to constantly improve yourself. And by the extent that you add value into yourself, you can add value to people, and that'll make you more and more attractive. And this personal growth can take the form of watch a video, read a book, counsel with your upline mentor, and so forth. Then for this sifting of, is this person a potential free member, I would recommend spend 30 minutes a month on that. And it's literally sending a person to watch the online video, or look at the live presentation, which I do once a month. So there's different ideas. We'll go back to that just now. And then to get them from free to paid, spend a little bit more time, but I recommend 1 hour per month. And that's where you make sure that all the questions are answered, and they now know why they want to do Geek, and do they want to take the 70 Rand option or the 140 Rand option, and help them until they're committed to now become a paid member. Here comes your big work, 50% of your time, 5 hours a month. I want you to develop committed members and take them through that whole process, and make sure that for each of the committed member, you can tick all those boxes for them. And then out of the committed members, find your legacy coach and become a mentor, and spend another 2 hours for that. And then leave an unplanned, so all of this is planned, but leave an unplanned 1 hour for legacy coach maintenance. And this could be someone who just asks you to look up what is his latest statement, or ask you advice on what do I do to get a loan, and so forth. And it could even be that you do one-on-one presentations for people, or live presentations. So that is the recommended allocation of 10 hours per month. So how will you go about doing that? Every month, before you get to the end of the month, by the 25th of every month, you'll get a reminder to say, plan the following month. So for all of you, start practicing on the rest of November, but come the 25th of November, already plan December. And even if you go away on holiday, make that the one thing that you're not going to skimp on, and that's your 10 hours a month. And I recommend that you plan 20 half-hour slots. Now, it could be consecutive slots. You could say, I'm putting 1 day a week out for 2 hours. So that would be 4 30-minute slots. But you'll see where you put it in just now. Then map out your current team, and where are they in this process stages? Are they prospects? Are they free members? Are they paid members? Where are they on the committed member journey, and so forth? And then pick the people who you wish to work with, because you have limited time. So in some cases, people might already have 20, 30, 50 people that you don't have time to look after all of them quality at once. But pick who you want to work with, and what are the specific action steps you plan to for them this coming month, and then complete your planning form as per the example that I will show you just now. So I recommend that you do the following. For prospect to free, use the symbol P, and here are the actions that I want you to limit yourself to. Don't do more than this. So if you have someone that you have not yet seen Geek, family member or friend, invite him. That's an action step, and the symbol for that is P1. And it can be send him a link or invite him to our monthly live presentations. But then follow up, give him a phone call or an email or a live. So follow up is P2. And you only finish when he has signed up as free, or when he tells you, I'm not interested. Then you can get him out of the system. So that's how you use the symbols. Then free to paid, we use the symbol F. And the only actions I want you to do here is check that people have watched the 4-minute intro video. Then check that they've actually done the online course with a generational message. Then follow up with them and explain the CFI products and answer their questions, and help them to make sure they complete the paid application form, so to navigate them through the form. Then when you work with committed people who are already paid members, what do you do with them? Check that the following has been done. They need to complete course 2. So we use C for committed member. So it's C1, complete course 3, generational budgeting. Complete the annual self-assessment and 12-month action plan. Open a 32-day call account. Open an investor account. Have an annual wealth coach interview so that we can discuss with them the wealth seeds principle. We'll talk more of this going forward, but get them to start using the New Life products on a monthly basis so they can save money and work with them until they've recruited their first member, because that's when they start seeing the power of the model. They will start earning referral income at that level. And then at Legacy Coach, if you have a committed member who's ticked all the boxes, now help them to move on the Legacy Coach path. Help them to recruit 3 paid members. Legacy Coach is LC. Build a team of 10. They must pass the Legacy Coach exam, receive their certificate, do the service level agreement, complete the HubSpot training, complete the Mambo training, see the strategic partnership presentation, become a New Life distributor, and develop their first downline Legacy Coach so that they become mentor. And these are the symbols. And now you take all of that and now you put it in, once you've got your 20, 30-minute time slots. So this breaks in the page. Just imagine there are 20 lines, and Henry is still helping me to develop whether we can take it online so that you can literally just fill in a form online. But in this example, I said, okay, 1st of December, 8 to 8:30 is a slot, 8:30 to 9 is a slot, the following day, 11 to 11:30, and so forth. So I'm going to do personal growth. I'm going to look at the video for HubSpot training and just familiarize myself. So action and results, and so that's not applicable. But then I've got people that I want to invite to Geek. So person A, I'm going to send an invite for him to come to a live presentation. Then free to paid members. So you only spend 30 minutes there. And obviously, if you just send email invites, you can do a lot more than person A. You can do 3, 4, 5 people there. Free to paid, for per slot, I can choose to work with a person and do telephonic discussions with him and find out, did they watch the 4-minute video? Are there any questions? Have they done the online course, etc., etc.? Or I can help them to sign up as a paid member. Then paid to committed, then those are all the things I can do there. And then committed to LC and maintenance. So this is where we then want every Legacy Coach, and this is what I will work towards, that every month by the 25th, you will then have it completed and posted to your upline mentor, because once a month, as an upline mentor for now, I'm the upline mentor, I will then have a discussion with you based on this report. So in time, we're not there yet, but we will have metrics by which we will then start measuring your growth. And these metrics would be, how many free members have you added this month? How many paid members have you added this month? Where do you stand on committed members? And how many Legacy Coach downlines you have? And we already got a commission report for people who are qualified Legacy Coaches. And then in time to come, I already have that access, but we will start notifying you where do you stand in terms of the monthly PV. The goal is 250 points, and you'll start earning commissions, and we will also then grade the Legacy Coaches to who's number 1 all the way down to where people are. And that's not to necessarily put pressure on you, and it's not to micromanage you, but it's just to make it more fun, because if you do this thing correctly, you're going to thank me and the people who've been introduced as new Legacy Coaches, your mentors who will introduce you to this program. So I believe we have come to a crossroads. The world around us is collapsing. The normal economic systems are collapsing. Jobs are no longer certain. You could have studied for 5 years and it's meaningless because there are no jobs for you to attend to. Or you can submit yourself and say, I'm a highly professional person. I'm willing to commit 10 hours per month, being professional, working with a professional structure like Geek and all the entities. But now you're at a crossroads. Only few things to choose. Will I continue to waste it? Will I continue to spend it? Or will I start to invest it? And that's it. We hope that all of you make the right decision, and we look forward to working with the legacy coaches who now commit themselves to the program, which brings us to the end, or is it the beginning?